Hi, and welcome to our second part of Classical Coffee for April. Today we're going to talk about the Red Violin Concerto. The correct title is Concerto for Violin, quotes, the Red Violin, by John Corigliano. John Corigliano has received many awards. As I mentioned last time, the Academy Award for the soundtrack for the Red Violin. He's numerous Grammy Awards. He won Pulitzer Prize for one of his symphonies. Probably one of the most commissioned living American composers. And this concerto, though, is a little bit unusual. Not a little bit, it's quite a bit unusual in his repertoire. In that it has been derived or drawn from or is inspired by music that he composed for the Red Violin. And at the end of this, we're going to make reference or connect you up with a link where Mr. Corigliano talks for about 5 minutes about exactly how this concerto came to be through the process of writing the film and then the chaconne, which becomes then the first movement of the concerto. It's really fascinating, and I think it's important to hear the composer's own viewpoint. The thing I want to talk about is the music itself, from my standpoint as a conductor, and I hopefully to give a little insight into this. The music being drawn from a visual field genre like the film, and especially the story of the Red Violin, which really traces the history of a mythical violin through 300 years in 4 different countries and 3 different languages. So it's a trip through time and space, with this instrument being the unifying factor. And the music that he created, that Mr. Corigliano created, is the unifying factor. In fact, it is a series of 7 chords which form a chaconne, which is a form used by composers of writing new melodies over top of a repeating chord structure. Bach wrote many composers down through the ages have used this as a unifying tool. So Mr. Corigliano created this chaconne to unify the story of the Red Violin as it goes down through history. If you've not seen the movie, I really recommend renting it. It's on iTunes. You can rent it from Netflix or whatever. But it's really a stunning movie, a very powerful story, and one in which uniquely music features. Is actually a character in the movie itself and in the story. For this piece, the music is the first and last movements of 4 are related very directly to the Red Violin, and the second and third movements are less directly connected. But they sort of portray, I think, in Corigliano's own words, they portray 4 aspects of his character. The first movement is very intensely emotional and lyrical. And there are other sides to his character, as he says. The second movement is a very ephemeral scherzo with many just little sounds that appear and disappear in a whisper or a diaphanous texture. The third movement is a different character. It again represents a side. And then the fourth movement is probably the most challenging for the orchestra, in that it's called a accelerando finale, and it features about every possible use of the idea of the accelerando, of getting faster throughout the movement. I think the challenge for the orchestra, one of the challenges, is that we spend so much of our time as an ensemble really working to play together, to refine our ability to play precisely together, to that ensemble skill. And in the first movement especially, Mr. Corigliano actually asks us not to play together. He has some wonderful effects that are created, unique effects, where he will ask the first violins to imitate a line that the solo violinist just played, but they play it one by one, starting just after the soloist plays it. So there's this cascading wave of sound that is just a shimmering web of sound. It's very, very powerful effect, very, very mystical. And the piece is just absolutely filled with these wonderful orchestrational moments. And the depth and the power of the piece itself, I think, is makes it stand as one of the most important concertos in the last 20 or 30 years, definitely, probably in the last 50 years for the violin. So I'm going to send you now to this little clip. It's very short, about 5 minutes, but it's very important that you hear the composer himself really telling you how this piece evolved through the process of the film score, then the chaconne, which he wrote later, and then the concerto, which wrapped around the chaconne and sort of finalizes the experience of it all. So I hope you enjoy it. We look forward to seeing you this Saturday, the 13th, at 8 p.m. at the Zeiterion for the concert.